Holy freaking shit, guys. I just put out a video where I talked about the content update and all the new cards that came out, but I ended up missing the most important card that came out in the entire thing, the 97 overall Troy Tulowitzki. So instead of doing another video where I just talk about the Troy Tulowitzki and how freaking awesome it is and all that crap, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do the player review right now. I said we were going to do it tomorrow. Fuck that. We're doing all 5 of these players. Going to review them right now. Okay, guys, let's start out with this 97 TULO. Before we start, guys, I am so sorry that I didn't realize that this card was out. They were really slow updating the Show Nation and like tweeting out all the cards that were involved. So whenever I looked around and everything, I didn't see anything else. So I just scrolled over him. I missed him. That's on me though. That's my fault. I apologize for that. But this is obviously a card that everybody has been waiting on. It's really crazy that he's not a 99 overall. Everybody kind of thought he would be. And if you put his stats in, like, I don't see how he's not. He's such a good hitter and a good defender. He doesn't have speed, so that's kind of a thing. But let's review him. Okay, as a hitter, he is fantastic. I don't know. He's very, very close to the Cal Ripken and the Ernie Banks as far as his overall offensive ability. But for the most part, I think this guy might be just a little bit worse than them, just because his contact versus righties isn't quite as good, I don't think. Anyway, let's go and look, actually. Okay, so this is the Ernie Banks. As you can see, the TULO is not as good of a hitter as the Ernie Banks is. This card has better contact versus both sides. He has better power versus both sides. He has better vision. He is the superior hitter, but not by much. And TULO definitely has this card on defense, so you have to consider that as well. But going back to the TULO, let's go. Let's scroll back over here and take a look at this bad boy. One, you can buy this guy on the market. You don't have to do the Dynasty program for the Cal, who at this point I think is the 3rd best shortstop in the game. And you don't have to go and collect the shit ton of cards or anything. You can just buy this guy straight off the market or do really well in Battle Royale. He is a Battle Royale reward, so there is that. But as a hitter, he has 83-90 versus righties. That's very, very good. You know, like I said, it's not the best in the game for a shortstop, but it is one of the best, like top 2 or 3. And versus lefties, he's even better, 94-86, which is awesome. This guy is going to be fantastic for you. Plus, he has 78 vision, so your PCI size is going to be fine. That's nothing that you have to worry about. But then defensively, this guy is just an absolute monster. He has big-time arm strength, which in my opinion is the most important thing at shortstop. You want a guy that can have on those slow rollers and everything. You want a guy who can really get it over there to first base. This guy can do that. He has decent reaction, really reliable fielding. So he's great defensively. His speed is the only area of concern, but really, speed is something that shortstops are kind of moving away from. There aren't a ton of guys, like there's this Jose Reyes and the Barry Larkin, but those are like kind of back in the day type of cards. But if you look at like the guys nowadays, I mean, Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, none of them are like super, super fast. So it's really not that big of a deal. But whenever I put that was the thing that ended up hurting him most whenever I put him into the FAG formula. But overall, I still think he's one of, if not the best shortstop in the game. I don't know. I still think in a vacuum, I might take the Ernie Banks over him. But this card is phenomenal. And I ended up giving him a FAG of a 9.3. Okay, I talked about this card in my last, in the video that I just put out, the one where I didn't know that TULO was out, but I haven't done a full review on it, so let me give my opinion on this card. This card, to me, is Robinson Cano that plays better defense and has a much better speed. The only problem is that he's really short. If you can hit with short players, this is the second baseman for you. This is an in-game second baseman. There is just like no discussion about it. But he is really, really similar to like Robinson Cano or something. Obviously, this Cano has more power, the flashback. But if you look at his live series, it's very similar. But yeah, and another bonus though with this Joe Morgan card is that he does hit lefties better, even though he doesn't hit lefties like all that great. And defensively, he is fantastic. He has a decent arm. He has a ton of range. He's going to get to a lot of balls, and he has a ton of speed too, which is so valuable in this game. he's going to be stealing a ton of bases for you. This is the type of player that the FAG formula really, really loves because they do everything pretty well. And I like this player too. There's only that little caveat that he's so short, and I tend not to hit as well with short players. It's something about where their PCI is, and it's like at an angle using strike zone camera or something. So that's really the only thing that hurts this card. But I ended up giving him a score of an 8.9. So Joe Morgan has a FAG of an 8.9, and I almost feel like I'm lowballing him because of his height, but for the most part, this card is fantastic. Okay, next up we have the 97 overall Willie Stargell, and obviously this is another first baseman, another left-handed first baseman that hits amazingly but doesn't have any speed or defense. Or, I mean, they're a dime a dozen. They really are. The one thing that set the other Willie Stargell apart was the fact that he could play in the outfield too, which, I mean, increased his value a ton, especially early in the year when we didn't have a ton of great outfielders. But now, the fact that he just plays first base, it does limit his value. And he doesn't play great defense, and he is slow as dirt. And that's probably going to limit you with this card to hitting singles and home runs. You know, I mean, it's going to take a big ballpark and a big-time gapper in order to get this guy to second base. He's going to play a lot like, I don't know, maybe like the Victor Martinez in terms of offensive upside, just because he can't run. But he is going to be hitting a lot of home runs for you. I mean, as a hitter, it doesn't get a lot better than this card. He can hit both sides of the plate well. His vision is a little on the low side compared to some of the other first basemen that I've seen, but it's not like, it's not, you know, super bad or anything like that, so that doesn't hurt him too much. So whenever I put this into the formula, I ended up giving him a FAG of a 7.9, but you know I am hard on first baseman when it comes to this formula. So that does play into it. As just a pure hitter, he's well above a 7.9, but just in terms of the value that he's going to bring, I think a 7.9 is about right. Okay, I ended up grading this next card as the second best card in this release. I think him and the Joe Morgan both have a really good argument for that spot, but this guy is just phenomenal. He's kind of like a right-handed Aroldis Chapman or something like that. And it's the 99 overall Goose Gossage. He's just a flamethrower, throws so freaking hard, hits 100 consistently, has a great slurve, and unlike the other Goose Gossage, this Goose has a changeup, which is huge whenever facing left-handed hitters, that now they can't just sit on that fastball and sinker. Even though his sinker on that other card kind of played like a changeup, there was a good like 12-mile-per-hour difference between his sinker and his four seam. It wasn't a traditional changeup, and this one is, and that definitely adds a lot of value. Not to mention this guy has better per nines. The only downside to this card is that he doesn't throw as hard. The other one had 99 velocity. This one has 97. Plus, you're not getting that sinker. Oh my god, dude! I can't even imagine if this guy had these 3 pitches plus a sinker. It would be the best right-handed relief card in the game, and there would be no doubt. He still might be, but to me there is a little bit of doubt to that. There are other guys who in my opinion are probably just as good as this card, but he's still an in-game reliever. If you can get your hands on this guy, do it. And I ended up giving him a FAG of a 9.0. Next up is the Mike Scott, the 99 Mike Scott, a really interesting card, guys, and it was tough to grade because I tend to weigh pitch selection very, very heavily for starting pitchers, and he doesn't grade out great in that category just because he doesn't have like a sinker, but for the most part he's fine. That splitter, I do like the fact that it's a splitter instead of a changeup, and a really, really good splitter, like one of the best splitters in the game. The only problem with this card is that he doesn't throw very hard. His per nines are fantastic. He isn't going to like miss spots or anything like that either. He has great secondary stuff. And, you know, admittedly his pitch selection isn't fantastic, but it's okay. It's passable. If this guy had like 80 velocity, he would be possibly an in-game card, but 66, a lot of guys will feel like that just doesn't get the job done. I feel a little differently though. I feel like you could finesse your way around with this guy and him be an effective pitcher. But that lack of velocity does hurt his card in terms of the FAG rating, so I ended up giving him a FAG of an 8.3. But okay guys, that is going to do it for this video. Once again, I apologize for not having that TULO up. I can't believe I missed that card. That's a card I've been waiting on all year. Him and the 99 Mauer. I've been like, where are those cards? And they come out, and I end up missing one of them. I'm a freaking idiot. I apologize for that. Now the only card that I'm really waiting on is the 99 Beltron, and we should be good to go. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. Like I said in the last video, I am going to be streaming at 6 or 7 tonight. And yeah, please stop by. I would really like that. But until then, peace.